Rain slammed against the hospital windows. The room smelled of disinfectant and something bitter, grief maybe. Amelia, only 23, lay weak on the hospital bed. Her body ached, her head spun, but all she could think about was her baby. She had gone into labor the night before. It was long, painful. At some point, everything had gone dark. Now she was awake, confused, empty. She looked around. No baby, no nurse, no doctor. The door opened. Her mother-in-law entered first, face tight, lips pressed together. No smile, no warmth. Then came Evelyn, her husband's second wife. She wore a long dress and too much perfume. Her arms were crossed, her eyes cold. "Where's my baby?" Amelia whispered, trying to sit up. Evelyn didn't answer right away. She walked slowly to the window, like she didn't care. Then, without looking back, she said, "The baby didn't make it." Amelia froze. Her mouth dropped open. "What? You lost it," Evelyn added, her voice sharp, almost annoyed. "You passed out after delivery. The baby was gone." "No," Amelia cried. No, that's not possible. I want to see my baby. Let me see her." Her mother-in-law looked at the floor. Not a word, not a glance. "Where's Darius?" Amelia asked, her voice rising. "Why isn't he here? He should be here." Evelyn shrugged. "He's busy." A nurse stepped in. Amelia grabbed her wrist. "Please," she begged, eyes wide with fear. "Tell me the truth. Did my baby really die?" The nurse blinked, then gently pulled her hand away. "I'm sorry," she said, barely a whisper. No body, no explanation, no certificate. They just told her it was over. 2 days later, they sent her home, empty-handed. She clutched the tiny pink blanket she'd brought for her baby. Her tears soaked into the fabric as she screamed in the back seat of the car. Something was wrong. Deep in her gut, Amelia knew it. But no one would listen. Before everything changed, Amelia was a quiet, hopeful girl. She grew up in a small house with her mother, who sold clothes at the market, and her younger brother, Malik. Her father died when she was 10, and after that, she became the responsible one. She helped cook, clean the house, and always studied hard. Her mother used to say, "One day, you'll marry a good man and have a better life." When she met Darius, it felt like that better life was finally coming. He was older, 15 years older, but he was charming. He had a nice car, ran a printing business, and spoke gently. He told her she was beautiful. He bought her gifts. Her mother was unsure at first, but Amelia believed in love. She believed in him. They got married when she was 21. At first, life was sweet. Darius took care of her, and she stayed at home, just like he wanted. He said he didn't want other men looking at her. She agreed. She thought that was love. But after a few months, things changed. Darius became distant. He came home late. He shouted more. And then, he brought Evelyn into the house. He didn't ask. He just told her, "Evelyn will be my second wife. It's allowed. I want a son." Amelia was heartbroken. She cried for days. But no one listened. Her mother said, "Stay strong. Marriage is not always sweet." So she stayed. She shared her home, her kitchen, even her husband. Evelyn was not kind. She smiled in front of others but treated Amelia like a maid. She moved into the bigger bedroom and told Darius what to do. Sometimes she would take Amelia's food from the fridge and laugh. Darius never stopped her. The only light in Amelia's life came when she found out she was pregnant. She felt joy for the first time in months. She believed this baby would change things. Maybe if she gave Darius a child, maybe a boy, he would love her again. But then the baby died. After the hospital, after they told her she had nothing, Darius divorced her. Just like that. He said she was bad luck. He gave her a little money and told her to go. Amelia moved into a small one-room apartment on the other side of town. She had no job, no family nearby, and no child. She cried every night for weeks. The only thing that kept her going was her mother's voice in her head. "You're strong, Amelia. Don't let this world break you." She started working at a small salon sweeping floors. Over time, she learned to braid, to relax hair, and eventually became one of the top workers. She saved every little coin she could. She started buying better clothes. Her face stayed quiet, but her hands stayed busy. She never talked about her baby. Not to anyone. 2 years passed. Amelia kept her head down. She avoided people who asked too many questions. At work, she was known as the quiet one, the one who always showed up early. But deep inside, the pain never left. Every time she saw a baby girl with ribbons in her hair, her chest would tighten. Sometimes she dreamed of a baby crying. Sometimes she woke up calling out a name she never got to give. Her world had become small. Her salon job, her walk home, and silence. She didn't go to church anymore. She didn't answer Darius's calls when he tried to reach out once or twice. What was left to say? But on the outside, she looked fine. She looked like a woman moving on. No one knew what had been taken from her. No one saw what she still carried. Then, one day, in the market while buying onions and pepper, she heard a little girl's voice. The sound made her stop. Her hands froze. That voice. It was sweet, high-pitched, and full of life. She turned. And that was when everything changed, again. The sun was hot that afternoon. Amelia walked through the crowded market, her bag heavy with tomatoes and rice. She wiped sweat from her forehead and moved toward the bus stop. Then she heard laughter. She turned her head and saw Evelyn. She was standing by a toy shop with a little girl beside her. The girl looked about 5. Her hair was in 2 neat puffs, and she held a small yellow balloon. She was talking and laughing, but Evelyn looked annoyed, pulling the girl away from the toys. Amelia stopped walking. Something in her chest started beating fast. The little girl turned. Their eyes met. Amelia stared at the girl. Her breath caught in her throat. Those eyes. They were hers. Brown with a tiny freckle under the left one. Her mother used to say Amelia had eyes that don't lie. And the dimples. Deep and perfect, just like the ones her father had. The same smile Amelia saw in her own baby photos. The girl tilted her head, confused. You look like the lady in my dreams, the little girl said softly. Evelyn froze. She looked at the girl, then at Amelia. In one quick motion, she grabbed the girl's hand and pulled her away. Let's go. Now, she snapped. The girl looked back at Amelia one last time before disappearing into the crowd with Evelyn. Amelia stood there, shaking. She dropped her bag. People bumped into her, but she didn't move. Her heart was thudding so loudly it hurt. Was that her daughter? No, Evelyn said the baby had died. But the eyes, the dimples, the voice, the feeling. That night, Amelia couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Her mind kept going back to that little girl. That face. That voice. She remembered the hospital. How they never showed her the body. How Evelyn had spoken coldly. How Darius never came. She picked up her phone and started searching for names of old nurses at the hospital. Most numbers didn't go through, but she didn't stop. A few days later, she got lucky. An old nurse named Mrs. Calvin agreed to meet her at a small cafe. The woman was nervous. She kept looking around. I'm retired now, she said. I shouldn't even be talking about this. Amelia leaned forward. Her hands trembled. Please. I just need to know if I'm crazy. Mrs. Calvin sighed, then nodded slowly. You're not crazy. She looked down, then whispered. Your baby cried. I was there. You were unconscious. The baby was alive. I remember. Evelyn showed up later. She said she was family. She signed papers. Took the baby. And then silence. Amelia's eyes filled with tears. Why didn't anyone tell me? We were told to stay quiet. Management was paid off. I was scared. I'm sorry. Amelia couldn't speak. Her body went numb. For 5 years, she had lived with a lie. A lie that stole her daughter, her peace, her whole life. She got up from the table, heartbroken, but burning with new fire. They lied. They stole her baby. And now, she was going to get her back. The next day, Amelia stood in front of Darius's office. Her heart was racing, hands shaking. She hadn't seen him in over a year. Everything inside her told her to leave, to forget it all. But she couldn't. Not now. She walked in. He looked surprised to see her. Amelia, I need to talk to you. Alone. He waved his assistant away. She sat down, looking him straight in the eyes. That little girl Evelyn is raising. She's mine. He leaned back, frowning. What are you talking about? She's not Evelyn's child. She's mine. The one you all told me died. Darius narrowed his eyes. Amelia, that was years ago. You had a stillbirth. You were sick. You don't remember properly. Amelia slammed her hands on the desk. Don't lie to me. I saw her. I saw her face. I've spoken to someone from the hospital. They told me Evelyn took her. You stole my baby. Darius looked uncomfortable now. Calm down. You're making a scene. She stood up. You let her take my baby and you divorced me like I was nothing. I want her back. He gave her a cold look. Don't push this, Amelia. You have no proof. Just leave the past alone. She walked out, tears running down her face. But her steps were firm. She was done being quiet. A few days later, she tried to approach Evelyn outside a church. Evelyn saw her and smirked. You think you're going to get anything? You have no case. That's my daughter. She's mine now. You gave up everything the day you left. I never gave her up, Amelia shouted. You stole her. Evelyn stepped close, whispering sharply. If you try to take her from me, I swear I will destroy you. I have Darius. I have money. And you? You're nothing. A sad woman with no family and no power. Amelia clenched her fists. She wanted to scream, but she turned and walked away. That night, she cried harder than she had in years. But when the tears stopped, she started searching for a lawyer. It took 2 weeks before she found someone who would listen. Her name was Rachel Hart, young but sharp. This case won't be easy, Rachel said. We need solid evidence. DNA, witnesses, hospital records, anything. Amelia nodded. I'll do whatever it takes. They filed a legal request for a DNA test. But Darius and Evelyn refused. They claimed the child was legally theirs, and Amelia had no right to ask. Amelia felt like the world was trying to crush her again. But she didn't stop. She started asking around Zoe's school. She found out when Evelyn would bring her for a birthday party at a public park. Amelia waited nearby with Rachel. When Zoe ran off to play, Amelia stepped in. She gently picked up Zoe's fallen hairbrush and kept it hidden. "Thank you," she whispered to no one. She sent the brush to the lab. The waiting was torture. Every night, she sat by the window praying. One morning, Rachel called. "The results are in." Amelia ran to her office. Rachel showed her the paper. 99.99% DNA match. Amelia nearly collapsed. She had proof. Solid proof. They filed for emergency custody hearing. The news shook everyone. Darius hired lawyers. Evelyn cried to the media, claiming Amelia was trying to ruin their family. She said Amelia had mental problems, that she was bitter and jealous. Amelia stayed quiet. She didn't want fame. She just wanted her daughter. Then, Evelyn started acting strange. She pulled Zoe out of school. She stopped taking her outside. Amelia couldn't even catch a glimpse. Rachel went to the judge and asked for court-ordered supervised meetings between Amelia and Zoe. It was granted. The first time Amelia saw Zoe up close, the little girl looked unsure. "Hi," Amelia said, kneeling down. "I brought you a storybook." Zoe took it quietly. "Do you know me?" she asked. "Yes," Amelia said softly. "I've known you since the day you were born." Zoe tilted her head. "Are you the lady in my dreams?" Tears filled Amelia's eyes. "Maybe I am." Evelyn watched from a corner, face hard. Over the next few visits, Zoe opened up more. She laughed. She asked questions. She drew pictures of Amelia holding her hand. Amelia took each drawing home like treasure. In court, Evelyn tried to lie. She cried, shouted, blamed Darius, blamed Amelia, blamed the hospital. But the DNA didn't lie. Neither did the nurse who finally agreed to testify. She said she had seen Evelyn take the baby and sign false papers. Darius tried to save himself. "I didn't know she was alive. Evelyn told me the baby died. But the emails found in his phone said otherwise. He knew. He let it happen. It was all crashing down. And Amelia was finally rising." The courtroom was quiet. The air felt heavy, like a storm about to break. Amelia sat straight in her seat, dressed simply but with dignity. Her hands were clenched in her lap. On the other side, Evelyn sat with her lawyer, red lipstick smudged, her expression tight. Darius was nowhere to be seen. He had stopped coming after his lies were exposed. Zoe sat in a private room with a child counselor, not allowed inside the courtroom. Amelia wanted to hold her, but she had to wait. The judge looked over the files one last time. DNA results. Witness statements. Hospital reports. The old nurse's testimony. Everything was on record. But then Evelyn stood. "Your Honor," she said, her voice shaking. "May I speak?" The judge nodded. She stepped forward slowly, gripping the table. Her face, once proud, looked older now. Tired. Afraid. "I did it," she said quietly. Everyone froze. "I took the baby. I told them she died. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't have children. I tried for years. And when Darius told me Amelia was pregnant, I lost control. I wanted to give him something she couldn't. I wanted to keep him. So, I waited. I paid a nurse. I lied to everyone." Amelia's breath caught in her throat. Evelyn looked at the judge, her voice shaking now. "I raised that little girl. I changed her diapers. I stayed up with her at night. I was her mother. At least I tried to be." The judge asked, "You understand what you've done? You understand this was kidnapping?" Evelyn nodded, tears running down her cheeks. "Yes. And I will take whatever punishment you give me. But please, don't take her away completely. I know I don't deserve her. I love her." Amelia stood, unable to stay quiet. Her voice cracked. "You don't get to say that. You don't get to cry now. You stole everything from me. You watched me suffer. You let me believe my child was dead for 5 years." Evelyn lowered her head. "I was wrong. I was jealous. And scared. She called you mommy," Amelia whispered. "She doesn't even know me." The room was still again. Then the door opened. The counselor walked in with Zoe. Everyone looked. The little girl held a teddy bear in one hand and looked around nervously. The judge smiled gently. "Zoe, sweetie, would you like to say something?" Zoe looked at Amelia, then at Evelyn. Her small voice filled the room. "I used to dream about a lady. She had soft eyes and smelled like powder. When I met her at the park, I felt warm inside. I didn't know why. But now I do." She pointed to Amelia. "She's the lady from my dreams." Evelyn gasped. Her hands went to her mouth. She turned away. The judge cleared his throat. "Thank you, Zoe. That was very brave." He looked at both women. "This is not an easy decision. But what happened here is a terrible injustice. Miss Amelia was lied to, robbed of years with her daughter. Evelyn Brooks, this court finds you guilty of kidnapping and falsifying medical documents. Custody of Zoe will return to her biological mother, Amelia Owen." Evelyn collapsed into her chair. Her sobs filled the room. Amelia stood frozen. The world seemed to spin. The judge spoke again, softer now. Supervised visitation may be discussed later. But for now, Zoe will begin the transition back into Amelia's care. Amelia stepped forward as Zoe was guided toward her. The child looked up, unsure. Amelia knelt and opened her arms. "Hi, baby. I'm your real mom." Zoe ran into her embrace. They held each other, both shaking. Tears streamed down Amelia's face. 5 years of pain. Lies. Silence. All of it led to this moment. Her baby was home. Amelia moved into a new apartment 2 months after the court hearing. It was small but peaceful, with soft sunlight in the mornings and a little balcony where Zoe could water her plant. They didn't have much, but they had each other. At first, things weren't easy. Zoe still asked for Evelyn sometime. She got quiet at bedtime, holding her teddy bear and whispering, "Will she come back for me?" Amelia would gently pull her close and say, "No one's taking you away again. You're safe with me. I promise." Some nights, Zoe cried. Amelia cried too, but she never let go. They healed together slowly. Amelia took time off work to be there for her daughter. She cooked simple meals, read bedtime stories, and walked Zoe to school every day. They started to laugh again. One evening, Zoe painted a picture at school and handed it to Amelia. It showed 2 people holding hands under a rainbow. One was a little girl. The other had curly hair and a warm smile. Amelia asked, "Who's this?" "You and me," Zoe said. It was the first time Amelia cried tears of joy in years. Darius disappeared after the trial. No apology, no words. But Amelia no longer needed anything from him. She didn't hate him anymore. She simply let him go. He was part of the past. As for Evelyn, she was sentenced to house arrest and community service. She wasn't allowed near Zoe for now. At first, she tried to appeal, but eventually she stopped. Maybe she was tired too. One day, Evelyn sent a letter through Rachel, Amelia's lawyer. It wasn't long. Just a few lines. "I'm sorry for the pain I caused. I was wrong. I hope Zoe grows up happy." Amelia didn't reply. She read it once, folded it, and tucked it deep in a drawer she never opened. Instead of chasing justice, Amelia focused on building a new life. She went back to work part-time. She started going to therapy, not just for herself, but for Zoe too. She began helping at a support group for women who'd been through grief, betrayal, and loss. Her voice, once shaky and quiet, grew stronger. She was no longer the broken woman walking out of a hospital in silence. She was a mother, a survivor, and someone who had fought back. One Sunday, Zoe asked, "Why did it take so long for us to find each other?" Amelia smiled gently. "Because sometimes the world tries to hide the truth, but love always finds a way." They sat under the sun on their little balcony, Zoe's head resting on her shoulder. And for the first time in years, the morning was quiet, filled with the sound of birds and soft laughter. Zoe sat at the kitchen table, swinging her legs while drawing with colored pencils. Amelia stood nearby, flipping pancakes. "Mommy," Zoe said suddenly, "can I take my baby book to school today?" Amelia paused, then turned to look at her. "Which one?" "The one with my baby pictures. The ones you printed." Amelia smiled. It was a small scrapbook she made for Zoe. Pictures of herself pregnant, the hospital file, even the court papers, all explained in simple words. A story of truth, love, and finding each other again. "You sure you're ready to share that?" Amelia asked. Zoe nodded. "I want my friends to know how strong my mommy is." Tears welled up in Amelia's eyes, but she blinked them away and kissed the top of Zoe's head. "Okay, baby, take it." As Zoe carefully packed the book into her bag, Amelia watched her with pride. She still had scars, so did Zoe, but they were healing. Together. Later that day, after school drop-off, Amelia walked to a quiet bench in the park. She sat down and closed her eyes, the wind brushing gently across her face. For years, she had felt empty, unheard, broken. But now, she was a mother again, a whole woman again. She had fought through lies, betrayal, and pain, but she had made it through. She took out her phone, opened a blank page, and wrote one line. "I found my daughter, and in her, I found myself again." Then she smiled, because no matter what had been taken from her before, love brought it back. And this time, she wasn't letting go. Make it for the above story in just 70 words. Hey besties! Thanks so much for watching till the end. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, share, drop a comment, and of course, subscribe for more drama-filled stories. See you in the next. Her friends invited everyone except her to their girls' trip. She booked one seat beside. Her friends invited everyone except her to their girls' trip. She booked one seat beside. Bye!